Welcome to Real Estate Game Changers Radio, featuring real estate trendsetters and industry influencers, sharing tips and strategies to help home buyers and home sellers get the most out of their next real estate transaction. Now, here's your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram.
This is Suzanne Doyle Ingram with Real Estate Game Changers Radio, and we have a great show for you today. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest, Scott Newman. He's a 2005 graduate of DePaul University in Chicago, Illinois, and he graduated with a BA in English, which is fantastic and something after my own heart. Before he worked in real estate, he worked in the private client division of Merrill Lynch in downtown Chicago, and then he decided to get into real estate a few years after that. And in 2009, he left Coldwell Banker and started his own brokerage, Newman Realty. So since they opened their doors in 2009, they have grown their business over 1,500%. And last year alone, they had closed over 250 transactions, which was about $75 million in sales. So he is a great guest to have on the show. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thanks so much. I can't wait to get down to the nitty-gritty and ask you all kinds of questions about real estate. So let's start off right away with, I want to know, what do you love about your career in real estate?
You know, the thing that really just sticks out to me when I get asked that question is it's the ability to lift up others. I come from a very entrepreneurially minded family. My father was an entrepreneur, a very successful guy, and I had that bred into me. It was something that I watched with my own two eyes and saw him do as an example every day. And there's so many people out there that have a lot of, inherent abilities and skills and talents and skill sets, and they just need some nurturing, and they just need some love and some support and a little pat on the butt once in a while, and tell them they did a great job. But, more importantly, to offer that mentorship. There's just nothing that makes me more excited than knowing that this year, we've got 2, if not 3 agents that are going to be over $10 million of their own in sales volume. And these are guys that came into the business not even knowing, how to perform a CMA or even the most basic functions of doing this job. They learned everything from the ground up, but I believed in them because they had great inherent skills and passion for people and the business and customer service. And, to help them grow and reach their potential and be in that position, like I said, to lift others up, is something that I'm absolutely very proud of, and that's the thing that keeps me in this business every day, which is one of the biggest reasons I love it so much. So.
Oh, that is fantastic. That must be such a thrill for you to be able to do that. I mean, what a life-changing experience that is for them.
You know what? It's people kind of know me as kind of a very blunt, gruff guy, and it's funny because I'm actually very emotional. I'm there's times where I'll walk out of a meeting with an agent who's just to see them thrive and go from making $25,000 a year to making $100,000 a year, and they never believed they'd get there. Mm-hmm. And you see the smile on their face, and it's almost like you walk out and your eyes tear up a little bit because you're like, God, I got to be a part of making someone else's life better. I didn't just give them a fish, I taught them how to fish. And it's like, it's so rewarding, and the relationships you build along the way by putting that kind of dedication into people and loving them like people, like employees, like friends, like family, it's a thrill. You're absolutely right. I wouldn't trade that part of it for the world.
Oh, that's fantastic. And tell me about Chicago. What's so great about Chicago? Why would anybody want to move there?
Oh my God, what's not great about Chicago? I mean, if people complain about the weather in the winter. You get all 4 seasons here, which I absolutely love. I'm a very, hyperactive, energetic guy, and I love change. I love, unique every day. I want something different. And with the Chicago weather here, it could be snowing, raining, and then 80 degrees in the same day.
Wow.
The summer in Chicago is nothing like anything else in the world that I've ever experienced. It's called, everyone here refers to it as the 100 days of summer. You really only get 3 months here, 4 months here of that great weather. So we have often, summer hours, and people are on boats and at Cubs games and out having food and drinks on the patio and just absolutely making the most of what there is to do here. We're on the water. You've got lakes and forest preserves, so many outdoor activities. Sports are a huge part of people's lives here. The food is just world class. I mean, I do a lot of traveling, and there are not many places on earth that can compete overall with the quality and diversity of cuisine. Every neighborhood, features a different cuisine from a different culture. And not only do you get to learn about, the food, but you get to meet these people that have come from all over the world and share this unique experience. And you get to learn about their heritage and their families and their cultures and connect with people. Because people love that here. They're willing to be that Midwest charm, you know, that Midwest friendliness. And there's so much to say about Chicago. I'm the biggest proponent of this city. You know, I love when people are moving here from out of town because I get to play kind of tour guide, and I've got my preset list of where the restaurants are they've got to eat and what hotels to stay at and all the must-dos and the, you know, Chicago architecture boat tour. And there's so many things here, from the fun, having a beer, to the, you know, unbelievably cultured, and the arts, music. It's an incredible city, and anyone who's not been here should get here as quick as they can. And of course, if they want to move, we might know someone who can help them out, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned food, because I seem to be always thinking about food, and whenever I go anywhere, I think, okay, where am I going to eat? So that's great to know that you've got a lot of really good food choices in Chicago. And someone else was telling me the other day, is there 27 neighborhoods in Chicago or something like that, or districts?
Oh, more than that. I mean, those are like the ones that are the most popular. I mean, there's so many areas,
yeah,
and everything is different. You know, you have when you go back and you look at the history of these neighborhoods, you know, you had all kinds of different groups that have been the predominant, you know, people in that neighborhood, and then it changes, and, you know, there's this constant movement here. But again, like I said, you know, every different neighborhood is, you know, if it's a Humboldt Park, you're going to get some of the best Puerto Rican food on earth. You know, if it's in the neighborhood I live in, which is Ukrainian Village, guess what? You're going to get some incredible Ukrainian food. You know, I mean, everything from Afghani to, you know, Brazilian, I mean, you name it, and it's here.
Wow,
and what's interesting about that is, yeah, it forces you to get out and explore, because, you know, you if you go downtown to the main area with all the expensive steakhouses and all that stuff, hey, that's great, but you drive 10 minutes in either direction and you're just in a whole different world immediately.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about when you started your own company. You know, how did you grow it? How did you find these agents to work with you?
You know, like I said before, I was a big believer in hire the people with the right inherent, you know, skills that the universe gave them, and I felt that I could develop them into good agents. You know, I could teach you what a property costs per square footage in River North and how to price a home and how to go to a listing appointment. Those skills can be taught, but you can't teach hustle. You can't teach ambition. You can't teach customer service. It's either something that you're born with and you get, or you don't. It's that bending over backwards, taking that phone call at 11 o'clock on a Sunday, even when you want nothing else in the world than to just have a day off and relax. Too bad, you know.
Yeah.
And, so most of the people that work for me, in fact, the vast majority, with a couple exceptions, came from people that were in my personal network. They were referrals from friends. I just got married about 8 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
One of my best friends who stood up my wedding. Thank you. I couldn't be happier. I have a beautiful wife, and I'm the luckiest man in the world. Truly.
Oh, that's so great. Good for you.
But one of my best friends who was in my wedding, his fiance, she works for me, and, you know, other than my sister being there, I mean, we go out on the weekends or go out for dinner. Like, it's very common that the agents were all together. I mean, people are friends. It's not just a work thing. People are genuinely friends, and so I felt there's a level of trust there. So we built slowly. We probably turned down, I don't know, 10 to 20 agents a year who want to come work for us, because we've obviously been in the news and got a lot of press by our growth and the amount of volume that we've been able to do and the types of deals. And we just don't feel they're a good fit. It's not about money to me only. You know, obviously a business has to be profitable, but I want to keep the culture. That is the most important thing to me. I want a place where people feel respected and trusted and important, and motivated to come to work every day and do their best, and then more importantly, go home to the loved ones and the things that really matter in this world. You know, we only get so many years on this earth. You know, so it took a long time. You know, we started for a couple years. We only had, you know, an intern and, you know, one agent, and then as we grew in volume and our name became more recognized, people came knocking on our door. They wanted to try and get to the business, and it's taken years, but of mentorship and training and investments of time and money in these agents. But, you know, to say it's paying off now would be an understatement. These guys I am so proud of our agents. I mean, literally, it almost makes me choke up saying it now. Like, I am so proud of these guys, because they just kick butt, you know, and they work so hard and they're so dedicated and they care.
Yeah.
You know, they really put their clients before them. And again, I can't teach that. And it's such a thing. It's such a proud moment as, you know, the dad, so to speak, to see that. So,
you're their papa.
You know, very organic, right?
Yeah.
We've never taken $1. We've never, you know, taking investment dollars or things like that, to grow and do these giant marketing campaigns or recruiting campaigns.
Yeah.
We want quality people. We want top-notch, boutique-level professionals that are going to go above and beyond and provide that white glove level service that we're looking to give to people out there. So. Yeah,
that's great. Good for you. I think it really matters because in most businesses, your reputation is everything. So you've got to have people that, they're representing your company. So people who are ethical and kind, who are hard workers and who really have, your customers' best, interests at heart, for sure.
Right.
So what kind of clients do you like working with? I mean, I know you're really busy managing your company, but I know you also work directly with clients. So do you like working with millennials or senior citizens or somewhere in between?
I heard a really, really interesting kind of piece of advice the other day from actually another agent here in Chicago, and I've kind of adopted it, and I think it really makes sense. And it's my business philosophy is that I am a bus. I am not a limo. And if anyone wants to get on, I'm taking them. And that's because the way my team is built. Hey, in a given day, I might sell a home for $1,000. And I might sell a home for $4 million. And each of those clients is equally important to me. It's like I am honored that people pick up the phone and choose my firm out of all the companies that are out there and show the loyalty that they have. But to give you a little more kind of pointed answer, I think what's fair to say is that I've kind of developed into myself. I'm trying to sell less and less as time goes on because I truly believe that the salesmen that I have in my company are better at sales than I am, and I'm a better leader and a manager and an owner of a business. My clients tend to be the high end, which is the most of what I do. Like my typical listing or buyer is probably between $700,000 and $2 million. That's the kind of stuff that I tend to deal with, just because a lot of times that level of clientele is looking for a very specific experience, and to further that, they're looking for the Scott Newman experience. And those people are not interested in working with someone on my team unless I'm directly involved. They want my expertise. They want my time, my name on the door, my butt on the seat, so to speak. So that's where a lot of my time gets spent in the field. But in all honesty, I used to do 10 closings myself in a given month. If I do 3 or 5 now, or even 2 in some months, I'm actually working on in a significant way in the field. That's a lot. I just, like I said, I'm a big believer in knowing your ROI for everything that you do. And I firmly believe that, being in the office, mentoring, growing the business, making sure our marketing's on point, all those other day-to-day tasks, that the ROI is just better because, again, sending out my sister, any of my agents, they're going to do a better job. They're friendlier. They're better salespeople. They've been just so well trained that they're going to provide that experience that customer is looking for and expecting from us.
That's fantastic. And would you say that that's what makes you different from your competitors?
If you ask me, I think it's one word. It's just passion. And I say it all the time. People say, well, why should I choose you? I'm talking to 3 other phenomenal brokers. And I'll literally say to them, I'm not going to give you a bunch of BS about, my volume and all these things that you could quite frankly care less about, and can be very, very skewed very quickly to say anything. I'll say, look me in the face right now. And you tell me that you honestly don't see in my eyes that I'm going to put more effort and passion and enthusiasm into this process than anyone else that you could possibly hire. And for the most part, 99% of the time, they say, give me the paperwork. Let's sign it right now. And,
that's great.
That's it. I love this business. I love the people in it. I truly feel blessed to get up every morning and be able to go to work, make my own schedule, make my own destiny, and to be given the opportunity to take on these files, against people who I thought were the industry elites who I've been able to catch, in a few short years doing this at only 34 years old. And so it's a big deal. Yeah. And I think, technology's great, marketing's great, all these things are great, but that combination of good old fashioned customer service with just quite frankly giving so much, passion to that process is what really separates us from everybody else.
And what do you suppose the experience that you gained when you were in the financial industry at Merrill Lynch? What did you bring from that career into your real estate career?
Oh, so much. Actually, ironically, my old boss actually just went under contract on a property with me. Talk about sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, great.
Probably the biggest thrill of my career. I mean, the guy is one of the most successful people I know in the world. He's been a second father to me. And I mean, I love him and his wife. They're tremendous people. I mean, just tremendous in every aspect or sense of the word. He taught me so much personally. I mean, I call him kind of Markisms. His name is obviously Mark. And, every day there's these little things that I remember him saying, or the examples that he set by doing something a certain way or handling a problem a certain way. I use those things every day. But I think what I really took away from that job is, it's kind of the attitude of why not me? I remember we were in private client, and I was an English major, like you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what an annuity was when I walked in the door. Mm-hmm. And I was expected to cold call multi-millionaires and convince them to come to our seminars, having never met these people and getting their name off of a list. And I was able to do it. And I always remember these guys, saying, well, why would these millionaires, why would these super high net worth people come talk to us? Who are we? Who are they? Or who are we to them? They don't know us. Mm-hmm. And the response is always big, why not us?
Yeah.
And I think that's carried over into my career where it's like, we've done a lot of deals for athletes and celebrities and very high net worth individuals. And why not us? If they don't hire us to be their broker, they're going to hire somebody else. So, to have the audacity to believe that we deserve the business and go out there and act accordingly and believe in yourself and go after it, So I think that was my big takeaway was that confidence to believe in yourself and know that sometimes all it took was asking the question, why not me? And asking the question, asking for the business was another major lesson, obviously in line with that. So, huge takeaway, and I love that group to death. And I use lessons I learned from those guys every day. Mentors, friends, just phenomenal human beings all around to model yourself after. Yeah.
That's great. Now, I noticed on your website there's a couple of Newmans. So you mentioned you work with your sister. And is one of those your dad as well?
I've got dad and sister. If you want a little bit of background, my dad was also just one of the most successful guys I know. Sold his business, retired at 50 years old, in a wonderful position. And, couldn't be more proud of him. I mean, the guy, I hope I'm half the man, a father and a businessman one day. Mm-hmm. He's a great guy. And he retired and they moved and built his home on a golf course and up further away from the city. They were living kind of in the northwest suburbs. They moved further away. And he was golfing every day. And my mom teaches full time. She's a special education teacher, also something I'm very proud of. And she's one of the most sought after teachers in the district that she works.
Good for her.
She's phenomenal.
Job.
Oh, it's a very tough job, and she puts her heart and soul into it. I mean, she calls, once a week and is crying just because she feels bad for the kids, and she spends all this extra money and time to, try to give them the best education and, mentorship she can. And I think, my dad was kind of driving all of us nuts, to be honest. I'd say it, so he knows that, but, calling us 10 times a day and bugging my mom, and finally she was kind of like, you know what, why don't you hire your father? And, he had a business that when he sold, I didn't want to go into that line of work, but I always loved the idea of working together with him. And so I leapt at the opportunity. And so he started, he got his very cool leather backpack. He'd tell you all about it if he was here. And he takes the train downtown, 3 or 4 days a week. And he kind of became our bookkeeper and office mentor, the board of directors, so to speak.
Oh, that's great.
He does a lot of the accounting and a lot of the, just sometimes having someone that's been there and done that, not necessarily in real estate, but in life and in business.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him. He's one of the most kind-hearted men you'll ever meet. The office, he's kind of the office dad. Everyone just loves having him around. We go to lunch and we talk about deals, and he helps us with the books and the P&L statements and some of the things that I'm not good at. Details, as I'm sure as you can probably imagine, as a broker, isn't my strong suit. So I've had him for years. He's been with me for about 4 years, 5 years. So through all that growth, I mean, I think I had one intern when he came on board, and now we're at 16 people, field people. Wow. We've got another company with agents and people in I think 8 or 9 different states now. So I mean, it's a lot, and he's been right there through all of it. So just to see the pride in his face, knowing that he wanted to be a part of something that I grew and I started, means the world to me.
That's
and then my sister is also there as well. She was in corporate America. She's working for a large corporation. 30 years old. She was one of the youngest directors they ever had. Customer service expert, sales expert. Just one of the smartest people I've ever met. I couldn't have more respect for her. Her and I are very, very close. I mean, she's very much one of my best friends in addition to being my sister. And, having her finally see fit to come on board after a little bit of begging and pleading and convincing and bribing. Finally able to get her on board about a year ago, and the company has just taken off even more so. I mean, exponentially again, even the growth pattern that we were on since she's been on board kind of helped me switch up some staff and clean house with some people that needed to go. But she's just been phenomenal in being just a systems and procedures person. You know, I'll come in on a random day and all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's this booklet for our procedures on how to do this. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you. You're the best.
Oh,
you know?
that's fantastic.
And also selling, you know, her first year she'll do over $2 million in her first year while also helping to run the business. So, you know, that's pretty phenomenal for somebody with no real estate experience. But
yeah,
she's just a stud. She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. Everyone loves her. So, you know, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I get to come to work every day with my sister and my father and some of my best friends in the world, and that's what I get to do for a living, and all while making the city a better place and helping people reach their dreams. So it's like, to say I feel lucky is quite the understatement.
That's
you know?
wonderful. And you know, the name of the show is Real Estate Game Changers, and I think one of the ways that people are not only successful in real estate, but also giving back to their community. So can you tell me a little bit about how you support in your community?
Yeah, I think philanthropy and civil service are key components to being a well-rounded human being. You know, our company does things every year. We've done like tree decorating with fundraising. We've had toy drives and things like that. I've always been on an executive board for, at first it was for Lurie Children's Hospital through the Medical Junior Research Board Foundation. And I did that for a number of years, and we raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for Lurie Children's Hospital. And if you're not sure what that is, it's affiliated with Ronald McDonald. Lurie Children's Hospital is one of the premier children's hospitals in the world.
That's great.
And it was funded by the Lurie family here. It's a state-of-the-art hospital medical facility. I mean, state-of-the-art. And they treat kids with stuff that would make your heart just wrench. And they're incredible. I mean, the work that they do and the lives that they save. Actually, you know, one of the guys I worked with at Merrill Lynch, his daughter was there at one point, and she had a brain tumor, and they'd stayed at the Ronald McDonald House, and so I got introduced to them because my old boss and I would organize these events where we'd go over to the Ronald McDonald House where the parents stayed whose kids were getting treatment to be close to them, and we would volunteer to cook them dinner, make homemade pizza or something just so they didn't have to cook and they got a good meal in their belly, you know, being so upset about their child.
That's so
and
nice.
it just broke my heart, and so I got on that board, and I worked with them for years. And we did wonderful work. I was one of their top fundraisers, something I'm very proud of. And, you know, like I said, our events raised, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Most recently, I left that board and I actually took my dream position with another board, which is Pause in Chicago.
Great.
Pause is run by the Fasayas family. It's a very large, world-renowned, no-kill shelter with some of the absolute best facilities and procedures and overall policies that I've ever seen in the world in terms of dogs and cats and animals. Those are the guys in Chicago. You'll constantly see celebrities coming in to adopt pets. They have all these volunteers. We raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for them. And animals are something that are very near and dear to my heart. I grew up with them. I've unfortunately seen a lot of bad things. We do a lot of properties in neighborhoods that have dog fighting problems and things like that. And I've seen a lot of that back in the day when I used to do more of it myself. And, you know, I actually helped rescue some of those dogs and took them from kids who were fighting them on the street, because I just couldn't stand to see the dog walk to a fight or something. And so, I've been on this board now for a year. It's something I think I'll probably do for the rest of my life. It's just such a thrill for an animal that has no voice to be given one and to be treated with respect and kindness and love. And the facilities are incredible. They have this canine flu center, and they've been able to, all these animals that would otherwise be euthanized, they save them. The flood that happened in New Orleans and all, you know, and all the bad weather recently, those guys are on the way down there picking up those dogs, bringing them to the kennel. Montreal recently tried to ban pit bulls. Literally volunteers were driving up the same day to Montreal in vans to go pick up these pit bulls to save their lives from being euthanized. So it's something that really invokes a lot of passion in me. It's just something that, you know, I have my dog at home. His name's actually Ernest Money Newman, of course, because he's a real estate dog, but he's our pride and joy. We wouldn't trade him for the world, my wife and I, and he brings us so much joy. On a tough day, we both come home and just, you know, you get your butt kicked by the world, and here's this beautiful little animal that just thinks you're the greatest thing and licks your face, and if that doesn't make you feel better, there's something wrong with you, right? So
yeah, I know. I feel the same way about my dog, our dog. I didn't even really want to get a dog at first, but we have 3 kids, and they're, please, can we get a dog? And I went, kind of begrudgingly. And we also have a rescue dog, and and he's just the greatest dog in the entire world. So I know exactly what you mean. Just so adorable. Right. It's so great.
Oh yeah, I mean they bring joy. I mean, you know what? Real estate's such a cutthroat business, and it's nasty. People try to steal your clients, and they lie, and they say bad things about you, and all these other things. And it's like, for there to be an animal that just unequivocally loves you and thinks you're the greatest thing in the world and depends upon you and needs you, I think that's just so good for your heart and your soul. I really do.
I do too, and I really, really want to thank you for all your volunteering in the community, because it really takes that to make a community work. And it amazes me when I come across people who don't do any volunteering, because like you, I've always done it too. I've always done that. So I want to thank you so much for your time today. This has been a wonderful interview, and we're running out of time, but could you please let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you if they'd like to reach you?
Yes. I can be reached through our website, which is newmanknowchicago.com. You can email me at scott@newmanrealtyillinois.com, or you can call me at the office anytime, 773-313-3901, and I will be getting back to you very quick, as I always do.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you again for your time today. It's been a wonderful interview.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to all your listeners, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
This has been another episode of Real Estate Game Changers Radio with your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram. To hear all episodes featuring our hand-picked real estate game changers, visit us online at www.realestategamechangersradio.com.